Hello, I'm joined by Mr. Tim Pilbeam and Mr. Roy Lupton to discuss sticky issues,
This is not fair.
mounting methods and smooth extractions.
Let's go nowhere.
Welcome to Fieldtester. Okay, so we're going to start the conversation off about sticks. Now, not whittling. I know. Right. First and foremost, sticks. Why do you use sticks? Why do you use sticks?
Decrepit.
No, not for that type of. For your rifle, not your.
Oh, for
legs.
my rifle, not for walking.
Not for walking.
To help me try and shoot straight.
But how long have you had sticks?
How long have I had sticks? I've had six.
No, I'm not talking about crutches.
I've had sticks for a long time. So no, stalkers, fox shooters have always used sticks. It's just obviously now we've got a huge range of huge range available to us and lots of different connotations.
I just see people tied up in knots, though. Is that not the case?
Or
clang, bang. Tell you what, some do whistle.
They do whistle. They do talk to you, actually. Yes, that's right. So yeah, I think like anything, they're not as straightforward as they used to be. So it's all down to making sure you practice with your sticks, and that's the key thing. So, but yes, they're perhaps not as nimble and manoeuvrable as they used to be. If you start going for the more complicated ones, but that's that's part of it.
At the end of the day, you can still go and cut yourself a single stick out of a bit of hazel and away you go. But it all depends what you want to do, how far you're shooting, what you're comfortable shooting. Yeah, with some of the sticks we've got available now, you can really extend the ranges now to shots that you wouldn't have been able to take before.
Okay.
Or you wouldn't have taken ethically before.
Okay. So your ideal set of sticks, something you can deploy quickly, is lightweight, doesn't whistle, doesn't break.
Exactly.
Is that about right?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep, it is that simple.
Are you fast at deploying your sticks?
I think I'm getting pretty good. Yeah, I'm pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah. But how often do you have to deploy your sticks fast? Sometimes you do. You need to practice, but actually very often you have plenty of time on a deer if you're carefully stalking.
Okay.
But a close woodland deer, yes, you've got to be a lot quicker than perhaps shooting deer in the field.
And it all depends if you've got David trailing with you, because generally if you've got David trailing with you, you've got to be bloody fast.
Yes.
Because they know what's coming.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
They do. It's like, I recognise him.
No, they don't. We had a typical example of this the other day.
Don't even get
it. No.
Oh, you want to go down that route? You go down that route.
And then stalking up onto a lovely bunch of fallow deer, okay? Just all we
Are you talking about that one? I thought you were talking about the fox.
No, not the fox. And all we needed to do was just peek our heads up. I was just picking my head up, and then I was looking through, and they were all there. Pick my head up again. All away.
I was behind the same tree as you were.
The whole lot gone. What he may have been behind the same tree. What he admits to say is, I was crawling. When I looked round, David was up there.
No, kneeling. Kneeling. Can we talk about the fox?
No,
we talk about the fox?
Yes. And I looked up, and the deer had gone.
No. Should we talk about the fox, or should we leave that for another day?
I think we're leaving that for another day. And that's
You are the fox thing. Right. Anyway, let's go and see the sticks that we have behind here. How many sets of sticks?
I think we've got about 10 or so sets of sticks here.
Okay. Lots of choice for everybody, but we'll head down to the range and see these guys getting tied up in knots.
You've broken it. Hang on a minute. What's happened here then?
What's that? Are they your 80 quid ones?
Is there an evolution of sticks, gents? Have we gone from 1 to 2 to 4 to 8?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's interesting. Just Roy and I are talking because I've got these here which I found in the museum. I think when we both started fox shooting, I used to have one stick.
That's it. Yeah, stalking and whatever.
Stalking, just one. And then basically, I think then we all had this is slightly embarrassing. I can't use these now. But now then we had the two sticks, didn't we, for many years, and we all shot perfectly well with them. To be fair, maybe not to the distances of nowadays. Then we had the 3 sticks by this rear one.
Exactly. And now, that's it. And we're on to 4. And
we've
gone to 5.
Yeah, gone to 4. We got some quad from 4 sticks legs here to 5 behind me. So it's quite incredible how things have progressed. And I think also a lot of these progressions probably only gone back maybe 5, I don't know if it's 10 years. It's when the quad sticks come out.
I think it's probably about 10 years because the first time I started using quad sticks was after I'd been to Austria and nobody over here. Well, I hadn't seen people over here using quad sticks, and I saw some of the Austrians using them.
There you go.
And I saw some in a really, really neat little set in a gun shop, and came back. And then obviously we started off with the sort of cane connotations, and then I got a friend to make up, a little wooden set, and it went from there. And then obviously more and more people sort of started manufacturing quad sticks, and it really took off. So I think quad sticks have been about, but it took a little time for people to sort of accept them, didn't it?
Yeah.
So many people complained about them and didn't like them, and you looked on the forums and everything else, and everybody really sort of kicked up a fuss that they were too complicated.
And I don't know, right or wrong, I'm just thinking aloud here. Is it also due to people shooting longer distances, perhaps?
More than likely.
I'm just trying to think that through, actually, because there's no doubt about it. The quad sticks, whatever they do, give you more stability. So, is it because there's people want to shoot longer, or there's a need to shoot longer?
Can I just ask, is there a stability difference?
Massively.
Huge. Oh yeah, huge.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Which out of this lot here, I mean, Roy, you haven't played with many of these, but which one's the most stable for you two? If this is your
it's
collection?
more-
quad
probably-
sticks, without a
yeah,
shadow of a doubt,
yeah.
for me, for everything that I've used. And we were talking a minute ago, and Tim was saying that now he's gone on to the 5 stick.
Yeah.
And you've got 2 points of contact on the rifle. So you've essentially got the rifle on a mobile bench, and you can hold it, and you can shoot, and you can really extend your ranges. Whereas if you're shooting on a traditional bipod stick, or even the tripod, you've still got the back end. So you've got your front end is stable, but your back end is reliant on you. So it will, it's never going to be as stable as having it on a solid.
Sorry, what just came into my head then was poor old Carlos when we were out off the road. He got a lot of grief
Yeah.
Oh,
for
yes.
that shot, but
Yes.
that's when practice
It is just
comes in.
Practice. And guess what? He's just actually bought some sticks
Yeah.
to take out to Argentina.
He's got some Viperflex.
So we've taught him as well. But I think there's a fundamental difference between the normal like bipod sticks or the tripod to the quad pod, because it's purely stability. Once you're on a quad stick, you've got your sideways movements taken out. All you got is up and down movements. All you got to concentrate on. Yeah.
So
But
so what are the issues then with sticks? What's the? I mean, you've got 4. Is it weight? Is it the fact that it's deployment? Fag factor? I mean, what's of cost? I mean, some of these things are extraordinary prices.
Yeah.
But a lot of people. I mean, we were saying a moment ago, a lot of the people like these quick deploy sticks, don't they? So the tripods.
Yeah. Shall I grab it? So let's get rid of the old one.
Which are fast, very fast deployment sticks. But again, you've got the same, not issues, but the same shooting style as we had with the traditional one.
So Kai, for instance, he absolutely loves these, and he's an absolute master shot with it. Very, very simple. You walk up deer, drop them down, and then once you're on it, your gun sits on it, and you got that swivel. But once again, same with any tripod, you have 2 movements, sideways and also up and down. So it's not as stable as a quad stick, but it's very easy, very quick to deploy. And these are very, very popular. So
Price for those?
these, I think, the Primos sticks or the German Shocky sticks are around about 100 to 140 odd pounds. I think there's
I asked Jim if he'd come today, but he's busy.
So I think there's different generations of stick, but I think about 140 odd pounds anyway. So
But again, for deployment, they're obviously people think that these are a lot quicker.
yeah, I mean they are very good, and you can actually take them. They actually do deploy on the ground
Okay,
as well.
I reckon what we're going to do, we're going to carry this conversation back, but I want to see speed of deployment and shot, please. So Roy's not played with most of these. Tim, you probably a slight advantage here.
I try. I must admit, I actually try to play with most of them because it allows me to have give people a better point of view, and it teaches me different techniques as well. So, but I just a master of none. So it could be quite embarrassing.
Speed of deployment.
I don't know what you call it, faffability, because it's sometimes things just go wrong. As we all know, you've got a deer in the front of you, and or your hands are cold. There's a whole raft of things there. So
What I have seen is legs just popping out the bottom when they sort of like you release it and the legs fall out, or these where you tightening joints.
That
Happens a lot. I've seen that happen a lot.
It does. Sorry, yeah, it does. So naming no names, but yes, it does happen. Very annoying. But yeah, so I think the main thing is actually they're all different, and I think we all need to practice with our sticks. The more complicated they get, the more practice you need. Okay.
Hold on. Come here. We need to do some.
No. No.
That's not the way it's going to work.
Have I done anything to it?
So these are the Spartan Sentinel sticks, and David's. Yeah. So anyway, so I love these sticks because normally they're set up properly for my height, Mr. Right. Anyway, so they are. So there you go.
The back of the Argo, and suddenly now you've got to take a shot.
Yeah. So anyway, these are the Spartan Sentinel sticks. A tripod situation. The rifle sits in there, secure, stands up on its own, and very easy as far. So, okay. Misfire! Blazer click! Blazer click! It is a blazer click. Okay. I love them.
All right.
There you go.
Away.
There you go. Aha! No, don't muck around with them. All right. Oh, for goodness sake, right. Oh dear, oh dear. Right, okay, here we go. This is the Spartan Sentinel stick tripod, but also we have got here a fifth leg as well. So we got the standard. This is not fair. It's not fair. It's got a here we go. So this is brilliant for the range. But David's been adjusting them again. Oh, David!
I couldn't have gearing.
You
too much of a smooth ride.
flipping heck. Now what do I do?
He didn't actually fiddle with those.
And some other go for a bit of fun. So that's the Spartan Sentinel 5-leg system. There you go.
Stalking with that.
Sorry?
Would you go stalking with that? You keep got that range.
It's quite complicated, isn't it? I think once again with practice you probably could do quite easily. Ah, for freak's sake. Out of practice, guys, with these. There we go. I've got all over the place. Too low, but anyway. That was good.
What's this? How are you doing?
Somebody's cheating.
Has he messed with your stick?
Sorry?
Has he messed with your stick?
I was trying to. Do you want me to hold them for you as well?
Okay, then these are Roy's favourites. Ready, Roy?
These are the old favourites, yeah.
Yeah, and twat. Go for it. He's so competitive.
Oh, he's sinking in the. What's that? It's all right.
No,
Just go, keep going. You're sinking in the ground. No, no.
That was distraction technique. Distraction.
Okay, so hopefully people have taken something away from that. We were a little unfair with both Mr. Gearing's kit and with the seal and stuff. It's all very capable. You've just got to learn how to use it, haven't you?
Yeah, I think the most important thing I've learned when I've taken people out stalking is just practice. It's great being a perfect shot on the range, but get out there, practice in different situations. You know, some people don't like the quad sticks because if you have to adjust your position, you've got two sticks, and if you're in brambles or bracken, it's a complete and utter nightmare. So there is a technique where you don't actually fully set yourself until you actually are about to shoot the deer, then you kind of fully deploy.
That's one thing. When I said to Neil Roundtree that we're doing this, he said, get them to mess around in sort of, well, not that we have much heather around here, but it's when you've got yourself in a bit of a tangle and you've got a bracken or whatever it may be, and you've got an issue there.
But again, it is just down to practice, because if you know, there's a very simple technique for that. If you've got your rifle deployed on the sticks, you just hold the rifle and hold the front of the sticks. You're holding the back sticks as well, and you just lift it, move back down. You know, so you can do it. You can do it in I mean, obviously, not in knee-high heather, then that would be a little bit more tricky. But and the same as if you got yourself in thick bramble. But generally, it's at a height where you can do it.
Yeah.
But, and again, exactly as when we spoke about it down on the range, when Carlos got himself in a Tiswas when we took him out
So
stalking.
sorry, Carlos.
Yeah, sorry, mate. But that was just down to practice. And now he's sort of taken that on. He's practiced.
He's practiced. He came down here. He's mustered. Yeah. So I think look at these ones here. I don't like them. Roy doesn't like them, but they are so popular because they're so simple. Yeah. So they're suits for some people, But we have a wide variety here of sticks, ranging from £80 to £600-700. Everybody has had their preferences. Get out there and use them.
Are we the sort of,
choice.
do you reckon the UK market is the biggest market for sticks, or is that something? I mean, do you?
I'm not sure, really.
I mean,
I don't know, and it seems to be European because you watch a lot of stuff coming from America, and the Americans just seem to be completely incapable of using sticks, don't they?
Yeah,
so
I do, yeah.
they're quite happy to shoot in the big middle and leave it at that. But when you see Europeans using sticks, you see a lot more Europeans using sticks, and obviously guys over here using sticks. So. I think it is. It's definitely a European aspect of stalking.
And I think also we all stalk slightly differently, different technique, different way. You know, some of these sticks you can't shoot. You know, either standing up or nothing. Well, some of these sticks do actually, like the Viperflex Journeyman, comes right down. You can just sit on your backside and take that shot.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So, but some sticks don't do that.
Yeah.
Some people don't do that. Some people prefer to stand up and take long shots. We're all different, so I think you've got to find the right bit of kit.
Exactly for what
for
your
what you.
application.
I've seen a lot of people use the Viperflex, but they probably came on the market. How long ago was that? 10 years ago, or was it much less than that?
No, less than that. I would have thought. It's less than that.
But Klaus, he saw a market there. He got fed up with other sticks.
Yeah.
Who builds them? And boom, look at it. It's massive.
Do you think that's the most popular stick in the country, possibly?
Oh.
At a certain level.
I seem to think that most people like it.
What did I say that Charlie used? He really liked
the Jakele one. Yeah, the Jakele one, which we didn't test today. But they're all
the German.
The German one, yeah. But the nice thing about those ones is that they are brilliant on the mountain because they're so strong. You use them as a kind of hard walking stick. So whereas these sticks, you do that, you break them. All different.
I mean, one thing we didn't do was the pull-ups like Mr. G does with the Spartans.
Yeah. And I think Mr. G, I showed off the Spartan.
If you would help me, I'll do it. I was going to say, I'll sit on your shoulders. You help me up, mate.
So the Spartan, we have the tripod, the Sentinel system, and I put on the rear section. It had 5 legs to it. Very complicated, most beautifully engineered bit of kit. Probably more suited perhaps for more range work and ultra long range shooting off sticks, because I know the army quite like that kind of apparatus. But once again, you can carry it with you, go in the field and use it. Once you get it all set up, unfortunately, I had it all set up, but somebody actually started adjusting things, so it all went to hell. But you know, it's just, I think like anything, they're all there. But at least we have such huge choice now to us.
Yeah. So, gents, you've forgotten your sticks, which I'm sure you. In fact, I think you have in the past, both of you. So, what do you use? As I said, so Paul put a knife in the trunk of a tree, but I thought it was really neat actually, probably to avoid getting sticks stuck in the heather or grass or whatever. Neil put that stick in his pocket and then could actually balance like that. Any other ideas? Just bracing yourself on stuff?
No difficulty finding a stick normally in a woodland round here, is there? So just break yourself a stick off and away you go.
Yeah.
You know, and I mean, you see it when you go out to Africa and everything else. You can. It's amazing. What sort of stick you can, or you get yourself 2 sticks, a bit of baler twine, and you can quickly knock yourself something up. So. There's lots of ways of getting yourself out of it.
Yeah, if you haven't got sticks, you just got to stalk in a different way.
You created a tripod, remember that time?
That's right, yes, in Croatia, that's right. I did a tripod there. So I think you'll probably change your stalking techniques a wee bit. You probably keep near woodland or fences, and like you used to do with foxing. You just keep looking around to see if you get any support on the fence. It's much easier taking that than maybe on sticks.
So then if someone is in the market for some sticks, any general tips, techniques, buyer's guide type sort of thing?
Not really. I think you just got to take the plunge, and jump in there and go and play with them. But you'll get used to. This is the thing. I think it doesn't matter what set of sticks you've got, as long as you practice with it, then you'll become proficient at it, and get used to what their limits and capabilities.
You spend £80-70 on a pair of quad sticks to £300-400. It's like buying a car or buying optics. You buy, so therefore there's huge choice there, and I think you just got to say, actually, I want to spend, because 200. I think some of these sticks, are 290 odd pounds. To a lot of people, that's a huge amount of money. To me, they are so good. They're well worth it. But if you want to start off, buy the cheap ones, work out how to use them, then you'll maybe progress. But you've got the choice here. The blasters work slightly differently to the Viperflex. The 4 sticks are slightly different. So I think you've just got to do a bit of research and see what suits you, really.
Okay, thanks for nothing. Well done. So obviously, if you have a successful stalk, then you've got to get the animal out. So we're going to discuss that and discuss the sort of methods and means in a moment, but I went out with Kai, who's adopted a technique that he saw in Ireland this summer.
Since I've used it, like, I literally think it's one of the best things I've bought, because it's made, like, I've not been dreading like the long drag all morning.
So it's all very well trying to extract a fallow deer from a field in Sussex, but what if you're trying to deal with a Kyler? Is there a weight limit on this?
There is a weight limit, and we're exceeding it by.
He might need to save himself.
Yeah. So.
What have we got here then? Have we got a decent sized buck? Do we have?
No. I think.
No, going. This is Kyler. This is pure Kyler.
This is pure muscle, isn't it, mate?
This is. I've been truffling a lot. This is definitely biggie. Come on then, Timmy. If this works, this is how I'm going forward.
No, you're joking. This is not going to work.
Right.
Oh, Tim, who's going to do mischief here?
That's going nowhere.
Yeah, the Kyler's fighting back.
That's right, yes. He's meant to be dead.
Come on, Tim. Go.
Is this plan B or is this plan A?
I think we got to do Roy on that, then get David in that, I reckon.
Yeah.
Oh, please try Roy on the right. So can you take a Kyler in this one then, do you think, Tim?
I think so.
That one's quite solid.
This is very, very solid, built by a local chap, so it's very solid, made of steel as well, so it's quite heavy, but you put 2 or 3 deer on this quite easy. Even get a royster on there as well.
You reckon? You reckon?
Oh, are you standing up, are you? Right, okay. Well, hang on, right, ready? Oh, bloody hell! Jesus, God!
There you go, how's that?
Nice, that's enough.
No, no. Come back.
Yep.
We're up.
I've only gone 10 metres.
I thought that was the thing for extracting.
Yeah. I think when you get older, you get wiser, and there's no way I'll shoot anything that big and put it up these hills. There's no chance.
This is really uncomfortable.
You're normally dead.
This
is so easy.
There you go. Oh, don't! It's going to jar my hips. Ow! 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 Oh, don't! Hey, just look as cool as I think it looks. Yeah, it's not the most comfortable mode of transport, but the reason I wanted to talk about this was because over the last 2 or 3 weeks, I've seen Neil using a independent sort of winch system, and then he's adapted a tree extractor in order to get reds out of Clearfell. And then we did our piece with the Swarovski scope, and then you had your perambulator trolley type thing, yeah. And then bizarrely you then talked about the rucksack, and then Kai had adopted this. And when we put some images up on Instagram, Jason Doyle said he'd been using them for years. So obviously that type of thing is sort of, yeah, you sort of see it out in the wilderness, you're bringing it back, but I can see the benefits of using that, obviously your pram as well, in lowland stalking as well. So yeah, I mean, I think it's sort of dealing with extraction, how to do it cleanly, hygienically, and also not putting yourself in any sort of danger. I mean, you don't drag anyway, you get everyone else to do it.
Exactly, that's why I've got you. That's the only reason I bother taking you along. So.
But I think extraction, one thing people do tend to forget about is that putting the trigger's the easy bit. You know, once the beast on the deck, it's like, oh my God, why have I picked that one? You know, is his most important part of it in some ways. So that's part of your other responsibilities. Like, okay, so therefore you need the kit, equipment, whatever it's going to be.
But this kit and equipment could be a lot of money. So you're making, you know, if you're a professional guide, a contractor, or whatever, then you've invested a load of cash on all this kit to do it.
And dragging deer out, you know, I'm getting a bit past dragging things out. I've dragged them all out over my life, just pulled them all the time. Got a barrow now, got a rucksack, anything to make life easier.
Yeah.
So have you used the rucksack yet?
Haven't
you
used
christened
that
it?
one. Yeah, haven't christened that one yet. No. Unfortunately, I shot 2 yesterday. I shot 2. If I shot 1, I would have christened it, but I shot 2, so I got my wheelbarrow and put both on the wheelbarrow. And it's probably about 60 kilograms on there. Dragged it up a fairly steep hill.
No problem.
Worked beautifully well. Yeah.
So hygienically,
Hygiene's always the big issue, isn't it? So again, depending on how you're going to extract, normally, I use a lot of vehicle extraction, so we take the Argo in and we just pick them up and put them in. So yeah, we normally do a full gralloch, from top to tail, take everything out, and then in the Argo and away we go, or on a quad or whatever. But obviously, if you're dragging, then you may just want to do a green gralloch and keep your cut as small as possible, especially if you've got to go through a bit of mud or a bit of water or whatever else. So again, you've got a gralloch according to the extraction methods that you're using.
okay.
And I would have thought Neil does the same, when he's on the hill, etc. So
Yeah.
he'll probably do a lot of green grallochs. I would have thought if they're dragging, rather than zipping everything open.
Green gralloch, Roy. What do you actually mean by that?
So from my reference to a green gralloch is the same as Tim's is to a hill gralloch. So all you're doing is removing the stomach content, so everything back from the diaphragm. So you're not taking the pluck or anything like that out. So you're not exposing any more of the cavity than you need to. So you can do that with quite a small incision into the stomach. Everything out, and then you've got a much closer or a much more closed carcass to then drag out. So it's basically to reduce the weight of the carcass to allow you to drag it off to drag it or take it off the hill, back through the woodland, but without exposing too much of the open carcass to the outer environment contamination.
Again, what I love is the innovation side of it. You've got your trolley, but you've got Neil taking, he's got a climbing rope system, and I'll throw shots of this because it's going to be in a piece we're going to do soon. But it was just understanding the environment, realising the issues, because you've got a massive set of antlers as you're trying to sort of come through Clearfell, and then trying to create something that's strong enough to cope with going over and around tree stumps and not getting caught on brash and all that sort of stuff. And then obviously, you've got the antlers that are going to cause problems as well as they're trying to come through. Yeah. So, he's got a climb rope which then unravels, and then I think he can extract up to 600 meters using this. Wow. It just means that you've got, you're looking after yourself as much as looking after the product, I suppose.
I think also, especially in Sussex, we have a lot smaller environment, so you're never that far away from a road or hard standing anyway, so we're perhaps not dragging as far as perhaps they do in Scotland, whatever. So.
I say not the same weights either. When
exactly.
You're ramping it up as soon as you start dealing with reds, then it's a lot more tricky, isn't it? And again, it all depends on what you're dealing with. If your ground is primarily muntjac or roe, then it's not an issue, is it? No. Then you start getting into some of the bigger fallow bucks and then onto the reds and whatever else. It does.
Childley's looks like he's walking around with a handbag. Just picked it up like that. It's just like he doesn't.
Well, we won't cast aspersions, but.
Okay, so what would be really interesting actually is anyone else have any sort of innovations of their own, anything they've created to extract deer, because I think it's. I just think. That type of thing. It looks cool. It looks like you've been out and you've been, I don't know, sort of a little more adventurous really than sticking it in a.
But anything over 35 odd kilograms on your back, that's a fair weight. And if you're on slippery old Sussex kind of clay, that's not for the faint-hearted. So there are limitations with the rucksack.
No.
But the barrow.
Again, I would have thought. Not that I'm ever going to use a rucksack, but the other thing I would have thought with a rucksack is if you're loading yourself up, you're going to make yourself very top heavy as well. So if you've got steep banks or anything like that, it's going to be quite precarious as well, because you've got to be careful. You're pushing.
You could have a heart attack in lots of different ways.
Most of the time, when I
dragging a deer is not, a dead weight is
a dead weight.
Is it pretty heavy, isn't it?
So perhaps we should have a deer barrow competition. What's out there. Come on, guys, tell us what you do.
Yeah,
so it'd be brilliant too. And I've seen quite a few of them. And I think absolutely brilliant. So I think it'd be really interesting to get some pictures in. Compare our barrows.
But again, on the commercial side now, there are guys out there, manufacturers out there that are making some phenomenal systems for packing deer away. For getting them into your vehicles and for doing a bit of pulling and doing suspended grallochs. So there's a lot of kit out there now that is coming on. The innovation side of it is really expanding, and it's fantastic to see, isn't it?
because when I was at Kai's, I was filming some stuff the other day, and he's got a skinner system in there, which is really cool.
Yep.
Really, you know, and again, it's sort of like it's an investment, but he's putting some deer through the larder now because of Game and Flame. So it's worthwhile for him. So we've talked a lot about rifles, and we're going to talk more about rifles now because we're going to go to Bisley and we're going to look at batch testing.
We've come to the Lord Roberts Centre at Bisley, home of the National Small Bore Rifle Association. For 1 week only, RWS ammunition importer RUAG has taken over a couple of lanes at the far end of the 50-metre range for their annual batch testing event. More about that in a minute. First, let's hear from the centre's manager, Tim Woolford.
It was built in the early 2000s, and it was originally used for the Commonwealth Games. And then the building was handed over to us in about 2003, 2004. So as the NSRA, we're responsible for small bore air rifle and air pistol shooting in the UK. So this is both our administrative office, and then we have a range complex here as well. So the ranges are available to our members to use, and we also then host a range of competitions through the year as well. It's predominantly target shooters, but that's spread across quite a wide spectrum. So we've got everything from elite shooters, GB teams practicing here, through to someone who may have a 2-2 air rifle and they just like to come along once a week just to shoot some targets at 25 yards. There are not many batch testing facilities around, and we're pretty much the only batch testing facility in the southeast for 50 metre. And it's been great, you know, working with the RWS team this week, seeing what they do, because it's an area that we want to also develop and offer as a service.
The aim of batch testing is to find the best ammunition for your rifle. RWS produce batches of 25,000 bullets per batch. It's done in laboratory conditions, all air conditioned, and it's rigorously tested throughout the batch. So when it comes to the end of the batch of 25,000, they will stop, and then they'll go on to the next one, and they will give that one batch its own number, unique number. It's printed on the box. So if you're lucky enough to find a batch, what you've just bought off the shelf, and you may be able to go back to that same shop and say, have you got this one? But where is this? We know we'll bring 25,000 per batch to Bisley. So we've got enough ammunition so the guys can go along to the shop, and if they want to, they can purchase 5 or 10,000 a time, which a lot of them do.
Target shooter Colin Davies has driven 75 miles from Bournemouth to find the ammo that will perform the best in his rifle.
Well, basically, I never buy any bullets that I haven't batch tested, because you've got to have confidence in the group, you know. And if you know that this stuff is shooting a nice tight group, well, within reason, then you know that any other areas are all mine, you know. Yeah, I can buy stuff from the club, but it could be all over the place. You just don't know, do you? At 25 yards, it's not too bad, but when it gets to 50 metres and 100 yards, then you know that you've got to buy something decent, really, yeah.
The way we do it, you clamp your gun in a vise, we'll do a 10-shot warmer group, then we'll reset the computer, and then we'll proceed with 6 different batches of R50, and then we will do a special batch at the end. It looks like one big group on the screen, but once we export it into the print program, it breaks it down into 10-shot groups, and then we can see the best one.
In his quest for ultimate accuracy, Kevin has brought along his own bore camera, and the results have been a real eye-opener.
People are astonished, really, because some of the guys just clean the bores, and they hold the barrel up to the light and think, oh, that's good enough. But until you put a camera down there which magnifies everything, and you can see all the imperfections what's in your barrel.
Just up there a bit. Yeah, it needs a good scrubbing, doesn't it?
Big old. What you need to do, they've got some carbon remover in the shop.
Have they?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
And that's really good.
Yeah.
Before we even look down the barrel, you got a group what's going absolutely amazing, and all of a sudden you'll have one fly high or one fly low, and that's where your barrel's picking up. It's proved that some of the guys need to clean the barrels a lot better and look after them, because the pitting and the fouling we've found in the barrels has been second to none. So much so that one of the guys is going for a new barrel on Monday. We found pieces of rifling missing, well pitting, a lot of carbon build up in the barrels.
Supermarket trolleys.
Supermarket trolleys.
Yes, the squirrels. Yeah.
Yeah, the odd rabbit tried to get down his hole. I think what a lot of people are thinking is, I don't need to clean it, but I can assure you, you do. Look after your barrels and your gun will look after you, and your scores will just improve. If you keep that barrel clean, your scores will be there.
For more about RWS ammunition, visit ruag.co.uk. And to find out more about the NSRA and the Lord Roberts Centre, see nsra.co.uk.
Now, if you thought sticks were boring, we're now going to talk about mounts. So Tim is shaking his head, but right, okay. This confuses me, and I'm hoping if it confuses me, then it confuses a lot of other people too, because there is because we ask you guys to try lots of different types of optic, we're always talking about mounts, and we did a piece recently. It's like, can we find the mount? We can't find the mount. It's like 700 quid for a mount. Oh my God, how are we going to possibly do this? So please, can you just explain a little bit about what is a Picatinny, what is a Weaver, saddle mounts, all this sort of stuff. And also, it just seems that nothing seems to be, compatible. It all seems you have to chop and change all the time.
Okay, so let's start with let's start with the basics here, right? So basically, we got a Weaver base.
Is that
Weaver
it?
Mount, yeah.
After all that, that's it.
And you got a Picatinny rail, right? Very, very different. Okay, so these came out in the 70s, and the American Army decided they want to standardise rails, so they can put all these different kind of night vision gear around their rifles. This is a Picatinny rail. Sometimes called a pick rail. Anyway, so they do exactly the same thing, different types of rails, but they are slightly different. So the Weaver has a slightly narrow slot, all right, compared to the Picatinny.
Jazz that up a bit, Tim. You're going to lose them.
Right, yeah, that's right. So bear with me. So basically, you'll find that a Picatinny will have a wider bar on the mount compared to a Weaver. Okay, no big deal, but a Picatinny will not fit onto a Weaver mount because the slot's not big enough, whereas a Weaver will fit onto a Picatinny rail. Okay, basically the slots are bigger on a Picatinny. Okay, as simple as that. So that's the biggest difference between a Picatinny and a Weaver. Going forward, guys, do not buy Weaver. I would just go Picatinny for everything, because everything else with night vision, thermal, everything is Picatinny. That's the way it is.
Yeah, but okay, right.
So that's the system.
But some rifles come with a Picatinny on them.
Right, okay, my goodness. Right, here we go. I've got Remington here with a form stock on it. Sorry, the words come to me. And you see that actually it's come with also a rail on it.
Is that in bed? That's it?
Yeah, that's
you
a
can't
Picatinny
change
rail.
that, that's what it is.
Well, no, you can change it, but it comes with that rail.
Okay.
Okay, it comes with that rail.
Yeah.
So it's got a Picatinny rail on it, and it's been mounted, obviously, the scope's been mounted onto it. So, which is fine. If you want to change your scopes, great idea. But what it does do, it actually restricts getting into the top of the action. If you want to top load the action, or if you want to push some stuff in there, it restricts the access into the port. So it's just one of those limitations. But what it does give you is versatility. So therefore, on that Picatinny rail, you can buy any amount
So now that you've standardised that rifle almost.
Yes, yeah. So therefore, your choice of rings and mounts on the scope are huge.
To most rifles now accept a Picatinny to standardise.
Yes, they are. Yes,
most rifles you can fit a Picatinny.
Yes, right. You can do that. So you just buy a rail. I've got on here basically. This is a Blaser rail, for instance. This is for a Blaser. So.
But that's a specific Picatinny for a Blaser.
For a Blaser. So therefore, every rifle action is slightly different. So yes, what you do is buy a rail specific to that action.
Are there multiple companies making Picatinny?
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Loads and loads. Of
Okay.
them. And then, so you got that.
But you're paying an awful lot more. Do Blaser, for example, do their own Picatinny?
They may do now.
Okay,
I can't remember.
okay.
But
Whatever,
anyway,
whatever.
so anyway, I use these for my Blasers because I keep chopping and changing.
But
scopes all
Blaser,
the time.
don't they talk about their specialists' own?
They got their own saddle mount. Yeah, they've got their own saddle mount as well, which is absolutely brilliant. Yes.
So if you so the reason for the saddle mount is supposedly you can take your scope off, you can travel with it, you can bucket it back on again, and you are still on zero.
Yeah. Yes.
If you take it off a Picatinny rail, does that also allow you to stay on zero?
More or less, yeah. If you buy good quality mounts, just pop them off, and pop them back on again, and change. And the
So there are different quality mounts, are there?
Yeah, no, they're vastly. I mean, again, it's the same as any bit of kit within the shooting.
But it's a bit,
industry.
it's a bit of metal.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry?
It's the quality of engineering, and sometimes I get some mounts wobbling around.
And then
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh yes, yeah. And you know, you got to bear in mind if you fit a weaver base to this, it moves around a wee bit. There's some movement there, so that all to the
exciting.
point. So you know, they are slightly different. So you generally buy better quality scopes, mounts, give you a lot more solidity and continuity. I mean, you can move on to another rifle here. We got here, and this rifle, this is the Merkel Helix. It comes with integral weaver Picatinny bases. So you look at that very carefully. It's got those little bases on the action.
So that's there,
and they got,
but in a more sort of ergonomic fashion.
So they're actually all part of the action.
Which again is really nice because then you've not got the added height.
I was going to say
because that's the only thing when you're putting Picatinny rails on, then it does raise
bumps everything up in the air. So this is we in Sweden we went shooting with the new Heinel Jaeger NXT.
Yeah.
Integral bases.
Just like that.
On them. Absolutely brilliant. So they're standardising it. So the customer's got the choice to buy any mount. They're not having to buy a expensive maybe Blazda saddle mount all the time. They can actually buy any mount, any rings, bases to go on that.
As long as it fits the Picatinny.
Yeah, as long as it fits the Picatinny.
So is it the only thing? Can you put another type of ring on there as well, or is that it? So basically, it's got to be Picatinny. There's no sort
Picatinny. So long as the bases are like that. Long as they're like that, basically they clip onto it.
Okay.
It's simple.
Am I just being stupid because I still find it quite?
Yeah.
I'm getting. You know, the fog is lifting. I must admit, I do get a better understanding of it.
You know, if you look at this one here, this is the Blazer. This is to demonstrate Roy's point. This has got a Blazer with a pick rail on it, so that's mounted quite high.
Yeah.
Isn't it? So it's not ideal, but that's what happens. I probably could get a slightly lower mount to bring it down with, but it does kick everything up. But you probably fit one of these if you are going to change optics, perhaps. If you're not changing optics, you just
Doesn't
go
matter.
for a. Yeah.
But also, I mean, in general about you've got a very nice mount. There's a tier 1 mount there on there. I mean, if you're going so I want to buy a set of I want to buy a standard set of rings that will fit a Picatinny rail. Mm-hmm. What sort of price are we talking about from?
Well, from £50 to probably 500, I suppose, really. But yeah. You know,
are you going to lose zero with 50 quid, is it?
The main, I don't know. I don't know.
Again, you've got to test it. You've got to try it. But the better engineered, the higher the quality, then you would hope the better that they would be, and the more sure you can be. But again, I think they go out. I think around
That's
about
a lovely.
200. Yeah, I mean, beautifully engineered. I think they go out around about the £200 mark for those. But incredibly good. I mean, fantastic unit, and you can get them for 30mm or 34mm tubes. But so that's the thing again. You've got to be a little bit sensible on what you want to mount, how you want to mount it. But the reason we were doing this was because it gives us that opportunity. If we're going on a driven hunt, then nice and easy, you can click it off. Click on an aim point depending on the situation that you're faced with in that particular stand.
I mean, we got the Strockley DS on this, 40mm tube. It's quite a beefy tube, isn't it? Really?
Massive.
So Alan Rome very kindly sent me these down to me. These are Rickenil scope mounts, beautifully engineered. They come with a little spanner, right? And they're about £150. They're bespoke. They're beautifully engineered.
Very nice, yeah.
Lovely. So high quality, guaranteed to retain zero.
Yeah.
And I've got here actually, amazing what I kind of find in my shed here. I've got some lovely Boris mounts, and these are probably more slightly tactical. They're quite big beefy things. But these you actually change the inserts. So if you've got a 30mm tube, they're like shims. They're like plastic shims. Really highly tactical, really big things. But they're guaranteed not to shift.
Yeah.
So it all depends what you want. And let's keep things simple, guys. Is if you are a hunter, a deer stalker, and you may just have one scope.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. You don't need to have these elaborate systems.
Yeah, but you got thermal. You got
I mean, that's something that we're seeing a lot more of now, isn't it? Everybody, you either go down to have dedicated rifles for dedicated applications, or you can then go down the route of having a Picatinny system on there, and then you can change.
If you're just a deer stalker using one optic, you don't really need to have a Picatinny rail.
No.
Just keep it simple. you know, because it's all adding weight to the thing. It makes it a bit more, you know, more going wrong in some ways. But just keep it simple. You don't need to be talked into having pick rails everywhere.
What? You just talked me into having a Picatinny rail.
Keep it simple, stupid. Keep it simple.
Rude. One of the benefits of having these interchangeable mounts is that various different optics hold zero and you can move back and forth between them. So we've been down to the range to see if that's actually true.
So for today's experiment, we've got one of the Aimpoint Acros on a Picatinny rail mounting. So we're going to put this on. This is on and zeroed. So we'll take a shot through that just to prove zero. We're going to take it off. We're going to put on a Leica scope that's on one of the tier 1 mounts that's been zeroed. So we're going to check the zero on that, take that back off and go back onto the aim point. So we're just going to take a quick succession of shots and hopefully they're all going to retain zero. That's the test and that's what we're hoping to achieve. Let's shoot a crow, I think. So we'll just come down onto the crow target. You want it, David?
Yep.
And we have a dead crow. So that works absolutely spot on from the start. So now what we're going to do, unfortunately, this particular mount is not a quick release, but again, it wouldn't be too difficult if we were in the scenario where we were sitting or we'd gone to a stand, we'd got the rifle set up for longer shots and then we wanted to change it over. Yeah, it's no difficulty, just taking this with and just a few twists, mount off like so. We'll go and grab, oh, as if by magic, Tim, my beautiful assistant, and then we put on the scope, as I say, with the tier 1, and this should be spot on. So now we're going to shoot a fox. So make sure that that is zeroed and absolutely spot on. So then we'll take this back off, back to the aim point. There you go. So back to the aim point, just screw it back on, and then we shall shoot the muntjac just in the bottom, and again, absolutely spot on. So from that, yeah, very happy. Everything came off, everything went back on and retained zero.
Just in front of it, wasn't it?
Huh?
Just in front. Oh! Well done.
Oh, well done, Roy.
What was that?
Did you shoot that last one?
Yeah.
Well done.
Look at him. He's got. Oh, he's sort of like. He's sort of like cool as a cucumber, but he's just like going, yeah. Oh, yeah. He did.
So, Roy, what do you got here? It looks like it's a Pacific mount for Aimpoint, yeah?
Yeah, so this is one of the brand mounts that Aimpoint are now coming up with, and they're doing them for all brands or for a lot of different brands of rifles. And again, I want to just test this, take it off, put it back on, make sure it's just holding zero, just for my own sake. But again, yeah, nice little, very elegant little unit.
And what it does away with is having a rail.
Exactly.
That goes straight onto the.
The only thing with that is obviously when you're using if you want to use a scope, then you've got to have a scope that you've got quick release mounts on. You know, that'll fit whichever brand of rifle you've put it on.
Yeah. It's nice and close, nice and neat. So
no, exactly. Yeah, I mean it's very, very flush, isn't it?
Yeah. Let's see if you can shoot with it.
Well, hopefully, I can shoot with it. Whether or not we'll hit anything with it is a different question.
What are you going for, pig?
David, you want it?
Yeah.
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 Dead pig.
That's it. Hard on piggy. So we'll take the unit off with cold fingers. It should be a good experiment. Thank you, Tim. We'll take that off. It's got a nice little locking bolt
nice, isn't it?
that fits in there. So
you've got a recoil stop on it, yeah?
Yeah, we've got a recoil stop on that. So that was off and on. Back onto piggy.
Yeah.
And dead pig again.
Hasn't moved, has it?
No, that's absolutely spot on.
Okay. You can shoot then.
I don't know. I'll try.
A lot of editing. Okay, so it worked. You're happy with that. Have you done that before? Have you done that before?
What's that?
Changed from one. Have you had a mounting system where you could take stuff on
No,
and off?
only on air rifles and things like that when we've been messing around, but not with the proper. Oh, sorry, not with centerfire rifles when we're actually looking at the applications and doing it like that.
Okay.
So for me that was a live experiment to see if I would be happy doing that in the field on the next driven hunt.
I think Tim's obviously got a bit of aim point envy here, and he just likes that. And sort of, do you get a sense that style over substance here, and the fact that actually looks really quite neat compared to sort of sitting on a Picatinny? It's
not just neatness; it's the ergonomics and how the practicality of it as well. So it's how the rifle comes up, how your eye alignment works, depending on your stock. So for this particular combination at the moment, and for my fat little chubby face, this comes up quite well. So I've not had to put an extra cheek piece on. I've not had to give it a stock raise or anything. Whereas if we put the Picatinny rail on, then potentially we may need to have an adjustment in the stock so it comes up better. But then you're going more down the lines of almost as if you were fitting for a shotgun. But again, that's going down another rabbit hole, because then that's a specific bit of kit for driven hunting.
But that's quite interesting, because I did a piece with Marcus Simpson from Simpson Brothers, where he was saying that with the Picatinnys and everything else, with this you haven't got an adjustable stock there, but you could have a cheek riser and everything else. But it's interesting that you really should be putting this up against, and just it's one stock does not fit all, when you've got all these other bits and pieces.
No, exactly, and it's got to it's got to come up, it's got to fit, and you should always have that muscle memory that that you're coming up and you're secure in your mount. And I think that that's something that we, as rifle shooters, it's something that we should think about a little bit more. Again, I mean, with the aim points, then you don't have the parallax differences, so it doesn't matter where that comes up potentially, as long as that red dot's on the target, then that's where the round will be going. But you do get parallax issues with some other optics, so you want to ensure that the rifle is coming up to exactly the same point each time.
I think also there is a growing trend where people are now, they quite like the more tactical stuff. So go back 10 years, we want a simple 8x42 kind of Swarovski scope, 8x56, whatever, for doing everything. Now people want knobs and dials, they want all the kit. It's getting very, very much more complicated, and it's getting bigger, and so therefore this perhaps is a growing trend of having more and more kind of gadgets on your rifle, and you go out stalking, it's like, God Almighty, this is wearing come on guys, there's and
you got your sticks.
You got your sticks as well. So therefore if things are getting more complicated, so therefore this whole ergonomic thing, the whole thing's got to fit a lot better. But that's where the pick rails come in, because you can actually do anything with them. So some days I fight it, but some days just give me a little 8x42 scope and keep it nice.
But it's like when you go back to this though, isn't it? It's light, it's easy, you just pick it up.
I mean, bringing them out of the car now, that with its massive bipod on it and
all the weight, and
then that was
that's it, and you can just pick that up, swing it through, and shoot some clays.
I think it's just
you did
just an age thing anyway. I think.
Yeah,
that's right.
You happy with your clays?
Yeah, we were getting there. So again,
the most competitive man that I know. Mr. You are terrible.
I think it's just where you're ramming those rounds in that magazine like a bloody bullshit. Right, yeah, fine.
Well, listen, thank you so much for explaining that, Tim and Roy. I hope you at home found something useful in it. I've learnt a lot, actually. It's always confused me, and these guys are whinging, I haven't got this, I haven't got that, and now I've got a better idea about what you are talking about. Please give us some feedback. Please tell us about what sort of extraction techniques, or you've got some issues or want to talk about mounts or sticks. If you really want to talk about sticks, I think we've covered sticks. But thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.